Welcome everybody, you're on Mind Your Biz, and we have Mike Parker, the founder of the Pro Wrestling Mini Museum. How are you, Mike?
Doing good.
Man, I'm looking at all that stuff behind you. Is that like all memorabilia of wrestling and stuff?
Yeah, pretty much.
Man, how long have you been a fan? I feel like I've seen some of that stuff, like it's like classic even.
Yeah, I've been a fan since 1985.
Wow. And if are you one of those fans that travel and go to shows at different states and one of those kinds, or what?
Oh, definitely. I mean, not I like to keep it within driving distance. But yeah, if it's, we'll say up to 3.5 hours away, I'll probably be there.
Wow. Now who's the most memorable wrestlers that you've ever encountered? Or, I don't know, maybe you got an autograph or get to shake their hand?
I would say, I've been to a lot of signings. The two most memorable that I've met in person are Roddy Piper. So unfortunately no longer with us, but totally opposite of his on-screen character. Nicest guy you'd ever want to meet.
Wow.
Paige, who was in WWE, and met her years ago. And there was a huge crowd. So she was, really at the height of her popularity, probably. Took time with every fan, really great with kids, which I love to see. So those are probably the two most memorable.
Excellent. Now, where do you think, what's your thoughts on where wrestling has gone as far as, I feel like these plucked out these big characters and made them into monsters, just like, you got The Rock and Messina. And were you watching these guys when they were in their wrestling element?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I said, I've been watching since 1985 with no break. A lot of people come and go, or they'll stop watching, get back into it. I watch no matter what. I know what happens with a lot of people is like, oh man, this isn't as good as it used to be and all that. And I'm just one of the diehards. I stick with it no matter what.
Wow, that's great. Did you know that these guys were going to be big superstars when you saw them in the ring? Did you ever foresee them being, in these blockbuster films and things like that?
With Cena, you could kind of see the direction of The Rock. Eventually you could see it, but I didn't see it coming as much because a lot of people might not know, when The Rock got started, he had a totally different persona. His father was a wrestler, and they presented him as like a goody-goody, they call it a baby face, and had this ridiculous costume, and nothing like the confident, arrogant, funny Rock you would see later. So it would be hard to see that coming out the door, but as he progressed, you could definitely see something there.
Wow. And now they're talking about he might be going for presidency. You believe this?
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Hey, the guy's got, 50 million, followers on his social medias, and I don't even know if you need that many to win the presidential vote. It's wild.
Yeah, if they vote, you never know about those social media followers. You can get them, but getting them to engage and do things is the real trick.
You're right. How do you think the sport of wrestling has progressed since the start till now? What are your thoughts on the overall shift in wrestling and the evolution of it?
I think it's getting really hot now. It typically goes in cycles where it gets hot and then there's a cooling off period. And there was almost a forced cooling off period because there was only one major company for almost 20 years. And now you've had AEW come out and there's real competition. You've got people moving back and forth again, being offered better money. So I think the competition now, giving fans choices. So I think right now it's really hot and no telling how far it's going to go because AEW's still only been around for 2 years. So it's still a young company. So still a lot to be seen.
Excellent. And do you think some of the big explosion of MMA has either taken some of those big wrestling fans away or somehow distracted from the whole wrestling world?
Oh, definitely. Because again, there was the cooling off period. And again, as it moved against we'll say, people's tastes for the classic wrestling. They found MMA, and a lot of them didn't come back, say it. But now that we have AEW and we have something for more fans, we've seen a lot of fans come back. Maybe not to the height of what they call the Attitude Era, 98, 99, and you had two companies going full throttle, but it's definitely coming back where you have two shows where one's getting well over 1 million viewers, one is getting 1 million or close to it every week. It's definitely going upwards, I feel.
Excellent. And who do you think are some of the big guys that are really going to grow into these major, these major public figures? Who do you think has that potential in the wrestling world these days?
Wow, that's hard to say. Off the top of my head, you've got Roman Reigns in WWE. He's The Rock's cousin. He was already in Hobbs and Shaw, so you could definitely see him moving on. That's the one that really comes to mind.
Okay. And now, this museum that you've put together, is this a compilation of all of your, nostalgia and memorabilia, or is there other fans getting involved to help the movement?
No, this is 100% all my stuff that I've acquired, mostly in person. There's a 2% that I've gotten from other big collectors, and that percent is small because there's only a handful of people I trust. As with any hobby, there's a lot of fakes out there, so it's got to be somebody I have 100% trust in to buy something from.
Now, I don't know if you want to answer this question, and you don't have to answer, but did you ever put a ballpark number on how much money you might have spent acquiring the memorabilia? And it might have been just going to the actual fight and getting them to sign it for nothing. But I'm sure you spent a lot of time and money, going to these signings. Have you ever put a number on that, or you don't even want to do that because it might scare you to death?
No, I can't say I don't want to. It's just hard because of the way it's evolved. I could say, before this existed and it was just my collection, there was less money going into it. Now I try more to get the ring worn stuff, TVU stuff, and it costs more. And there's stuff that's quite frankly out of my price range. But now, you can get a big item, or I'm getting a big item, and I can give you numbers there. I just bought something that I haven't even gotten yet. Someone's boots, that was $650. My biggest item, I don't know if you can, it's hard to point to, but it's Carmella's ring-worn outfit from the first ever Women's Royal Rumble. Paid $2,000 for that. I can give you that number. That is my biggest purchase, and probably the only time I'll do something like that, because there were a lot of elements there. It being the first ever Women's Royal Rumble, I really felt like it was a historic piece and something I needed to jump on when it became available. But full disclosure, I don't have that kind of money to spend every day.
I can't imagine. That stuff is costly, man. What piece of memorabilia do you feel that you have that you either got for nothing or almost just very inexpensive that you think has the biggest value, that surprisingly went up in value in some way? Is there anything like that in your collection?
Yeah, I'm going to say I know. Actually, I don't know if anything was paid for it because it was so long ago. When I was in high school, Ricky Steamboat and a wrestler named Big John Studd, who unfortunately passed away young, they were signing autographs at a racetrack, and my dad took me. I don't remember if there was a fee. If there was, it was very small. So I have Big John Studd's autograph, and that's highly sought after. I don't even know what it goes for. Wow. And obviously, with the authentication and everything, I got it in person, so I know it's real. And if I put it to a third-party authenticator, it would pass. So as far as going up in value, that would probably be it.
Very cool. And especially if it's rare, if he wasn't just giving away his autographs everywhere, and if he passed, obviously, it's hard. No one can get it now. So what gave you the idea to put all this together and make this online museum, since you've put so much effort through the years collecting?
It was kind of a slow burn. In 2013, in an antique mall, there was a guy who had his collection out, collection/store. It's called Pro Wrestling World. It was in Pennsylvania, and he had his collection out, and I would go there. It was like 2 hours from where I live. I'm like, this is amazing. And I went there constantly for about 5 years until they closed up. And before that, I just carved out a little space, said, oh, I'm going to have a wall for my pictures, some pictures, because previously everything was in a binder, put away. So it started out with one wall. Then when this place closed up shop, I was just like, I want to keep this going. I don't know how, because again, I loved going there so much. He was offering his things to customers. You'd fill out a form. I picked out a few of the things I liked the most. Luckily, got them all. And that kind of planted the seed in my head. And I needed more space, went to another wall. And over the next year, it just exploded. I have it in my home, and it just, now it's everywhere. I'll say it's in my basement, but it's a lot of stuff. And the way I have it set up online, it doesn't just look like somebody's basement. It's well cataloged, each item. There's text there explaining things, excuse me. But yeah, and then in late 2019, I'm part of a lot of collecting groups, and I noticed that a lot of people have this kind of stuff, kind of keep it to themselves, which to me is no fun. And I said, I want to share this with other collectors. I said, what about if I put this online? And I built a website, and I built some social media, and it's kind of grown from there. I'm proud to say on my Twitter account specifically that I have over 50 wrestlers or wrestling personalities well-known following me.
Wow,
So,
that's great. That's credibility right there.
Yeah.
What does your family and friends think of you all these years and your passion for this?
They're blown away by it. They know about my passion for wrestling. And the other thing that I really want to do here is, because again, not everyone can do this. I'm fortunate, even though I have limits, to be able to build this. And I want other fans to be able to live vicariously through me, which is also why I put these things up, so that they can look at it. And, it's a website. It's there 24/7. So that's the other thing I want.
That's awesome, man, that you're willing to share. I feel like you said, a lot of collectors, they stay to themselves and they keep in their own bubble, but it's great that you're really trying to share, because there's tons of wrestling fans all over the world that I'm sure would just love to dive in.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping they do. I've seen the website traffic go up, which I'm happy to see. And yeah, I hope people are enjoying themselves. I hope they're not overdoing it. There's a lot to see. Taking it in maybe in multiple sessions. Otherwise, you could be on there endlessly the way I've set it up.
Wow. Well, that's noble, man, that you're willing to share your world and all the hard work you put into collecting. And now, where can everyone go look? What's the website?
The website is pwmuseum.net.
Easy enough. Easy enough. Is there anything else you want to share about the site so people can engage and be a part of it?
I would just say, you've got different types of fans, obviously. You've got fans that maybe have only been fans for a few years, or old school fans. But if anyone's on that site and they have questions beyond what I've written there, don't hesitate to contact me. I'm always happy to talk wrestling, always happy to answer questions, give history lessons, so to speak, if somebody wants them.
Well, yeah, you've been doing it long enough, so you're like an expert. There should be some kind of an honorary degree for that.
Yeah, no, I also want to say I'm just hoping with this. There are a couple of physical museums, which is cool. Like I said, I used to go to one, but I want people to really realize that I'm 100%, like you were saying, I'm credible with this. And I want people to kind of look at it on that same level. You know, I'm not just doing this. I can't even think of how to put it. Like, where it's just a little nothing. I'm putting a lot into this, you know, where I'm building professional relationships, and I want people to know that this is a top shelf thing, basically.
No, that sounds great. Well, you're definitely a noble guy to be putting this together and sharing it.
Thank you.
And everyone can check out PW,
pwmuseum.net.
pwmuseum.net. All right. Nice meeting you, Mike.
Take care.
Good luck. We appreciate over here for letting us mind your biz. Mike Parker, thank you for coming.